Don't miss the joy, help her lose a lump, but you must be determined to reach the goal.
Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality, and reach us through and through ourselves, and evermore protect us from ignorance by thy sweet, compassionate face. So my subject this morning is, what is life? And the controlling question is, how did the Atman become the Jivatman? How did the eternal, immortal, infinite spirit become a biological life form that is born, eats, grows, assimilates, maintains homeostasis, reproduces, and dies? We're going to begin by talking about the human condition and how far we have fallen from our true nature. The jiva, that's the living, it's not the Atman, it's the living Atman, the embodied soul. The jiva, the embodied soul, is like the reflection of the sun in a drop of water. It's like the space in a clay pot that's separate from the universal, infinite space by walls of clay. It is a light hidden under a bushel of bad habits, wrong thoughts, and confusion. It's like a bird that's trapped in a cage, and it's fluttering, trying to get free, not knowing that the door is open. This is the jiva. It's like a wave that's jostling and fighting against all the other waves, not knowing that it is part of the ocean itself. This is the jiva, bound by the law of causation, entrapped by the chains of the links of karma that lock us into behavior patterns and wrong ways of living. This is the human condition. Maybe it's best explained or illustrated, in my humble opinion, by the great allegory of the cave of the Greek philosopher Plato, which you remember very well. The men lined an underground dungeon-like cave, darkness, dim light, they're lined up, chained hand and foot, can't move, watching on the wall of the cave, the movement of the shadows on the wall, completely unmindful of the higher, real world above, where the sun is shining and the birds are singing. This is the plight of the jiva. This is the condition. This is the human condition. Philosophers like to speak of it as this world as an absurd theater. A theater of the absurd. Absurd means a drama that's tragic, and yet it's kind of sadly funny too. Like a man desperately looking for something in an empty box. That would be kind of like an absurd image. Like a person who looking to buy a mink coat in a 5 and 10 cent store. Or someone fishing for trout in a mud puddle. This is our condition. Looking for the absolute in the relative. Looking for the eternal in the transient. Trying to seek immortal life in the midst of Maya. What could be more obvious to us than our own self? And yet, even as spiritual aspirants, we walk around questioning others. Now, who am I? Trying to figure out who we really are. It's like the eyes trying to grasp themselves. Like the eyes trying to see, or like the hand trying to grasp itself. Or like a dog running around in circles, trying to catch his own tail. This is the human condition. Existentialist philosophers like to compare it to the old Greek myth of Sisyphus. Sisyphus was the king of Corinth in ancient Greece. And he ruled wisely and well, but he had one problem, and that is his attitude towards the gods was one of bold defiance. And on one occasion, the king of the gods, Zeus, abducted the daughter of the architect of the city of Corinth. And Sisyphus, well, he led a protest march, raised an outcry. People became aware. And Zeus was very vexed. On another occasion, he saw that, Sisyphus saw that the Lord of Death was stalking the kingdom, and people were dying everywhere. And he said, I have to put a stop to this. And so he captured Death, put him in chains, and threw him in a dungeon. And meanwhile, time passed, and Thanatos the lord of the underworld, looked around. He saw, I don't have any customers here. It's growing empty. And he complained to the gods. When Sisyphus, just before he died, he grew old, but just before he died, he instructed his wife, do not bury my body when I die. Just leave it here on the side of the road. Which he did. He died, and of course he went down into the another world. But very soon he sent up a petition to the gods. Oh, see what a pitiable condition this is. My body was not buried. That's terrible. Yeah, according to Greek tradition. Please, they said, let me come back. Just enough time to see I get a decent burial. So they gave him that permission. And of course, when he returned, he saw that life was very worth living. And so he continued on living for many years. It's only when he finally died that the gods had their revenge, and they punished him to the world of the Tartarus, where he was condemned to roll a heavy stone up the hill. And there, this heavy boulder that he gets to the top, and then it rocks back and forth, and then by its own weight, it rolls down the other side to the bottom. They thought that nothing could be worse than to condemn a man to meaningless work. That is, he had to roll that uphill again and again, to meaningless work throughout eternity. So we can finally see, these are all these old Greek myths kind of give us a glimpse into our own human condition, the cyclic nature of life, and very much what our lives are like. The plight of Sisyphus. There was another king of ancient India. His name was Yayati. And Yayati was something of a hedonist. That is, he loved life, and he loved the pleasures and enjoyments of life. And of course, as the king, he had no end of sense pleasures, and he spent the days in wining and dining and dance and song. Till one day, he found that he was growing old. And he thought, but he still had such a desire to enjoy the world. And so in his mind, he thought, yes, I have 3 sons. And so he asked the sons, would one of you exchange bodies with me so that I can continue to live? And the eldest in the middle said, no way. But the youngest son said, yes, I'll do it. And so they sat down, and they repeated the mantras, and they did the rituals. And out of the body of the youngest, the prince, came out of that body and entered into the body of the king. The king entered into the body of the young prince. And the king soon died and was buried. But the real king, now in that new, fresh, young body, he began to live again with great gusto and enthusiasm for another life, enjoying all the pleasures of life. Until one day, he found himself there standing in front of the mirror, and he saw that his skin was being wrinkled, and that his hair was growing gray, and that he realized the onset of old age. And he looked within his heart, and he saw that he still had intense desire for worldly pleasures. And the contrast between those two things just kind of startled him and made him thoughtful. And that even though after a whole double lifetime of enjoyment, he still had that burning desire for the satisfaction of the senses. And so he uttered there on that occasion a famous Sanskrit verse, the Jatu Kama Kamanam Hubabhogena Shamiti Havisha Krishna Vartmayava Bhuyo Eva Bivardate. That means the fulfillment of desire does not come with the satisfaction of desire, but rather desire only increases the more, like a fire when butter is poured upon it. So we're talking here about the human condition. But we live in two worlds within us. One is the lower and one is the higher. There is the lower world, that is the sensible world of appearances, and there is the higher world, the intelligible world of knowledge. We could call them avidya maya and vidya maya, two different levels of domains, dimensions of our experience. If we think back to the Greek philosopher Plato, he gives us the analogy or the image of the dividing line. Visualize a horizontal line. And all of a human experience and a reality can be divided. There's the lower and there's the higher. There is the world, the relative. Now we're going to go lower, higher. There's the relative, the absolute. The world of the many, the world of the one, the world of change, the world of where things are permanent. The material and the immaterial. The physical, above the line, metaphysical. The human, above the line, divine. The senses, the sensible, sensuous, the irrational. The world of opinion, the world of knowledge. This is the lower world and the higher world. So far we've been talking here about the lower experience, that is our experience, when we're really talking here about two levels of mind. In yoga psychology, it's called the manas and the buddhi. Now, as bound souls, we identify with the ego mind. The ego mind is called the lower mind. It's the manas. It's the perceptual mind. It's driven by the vasanas. And that uses the powers, but the reason that we have to serve the separate self. The higher mind is the world of our potential for our understanding, the world of deeper understanding, of higher understanding. Avidya maya means, avidya just means personal ignorance, lack of awareness of our own true nature. It's that which causes us to believe in this illusion of Maya. It's that which causes us to believe that we are separate selves and that the world of the many, the material world, is different from the spiritual world and the world of the one. This is avidya, Maya. It's all Maya. This morning we're talking about all of this Maya. But even within Maya, we can distinguish now between the lower and the higher. Let's look here at the higher world of the higher world. It's the world of the intelligible world of true knowledge. Not ordinary knowledge, but eternal knowledge. This kind of knowledge that we get by studying the Upanishads and that is embodied in the unmanifested world of the Vedas. It has a lot of similarities to the Platonic world of the forms, the universal, that is the eternal forms. Visualize your higher nature. That is all the knowledge that is within you. That is in potential form within your own soul. All the knowledge in the universe is within us. Swamiji says that all of the knowledge, even of the Vedas, is in the soul of an ant. And so, well, where is it? Well, it's potential. But just considering now the actualized world of the unmanifested divine knowledge, it's kind of structured like a pyramid. That at the top we could visualize the eternal good, the three faces of God, the good, the true, and the beautiful. Somewhere down, a little on the hierarchy, are all the laws, the spiritual laws, all of the metaphysical laws of the science of mind, all of the eternal laws of physics and of physical sciences, the eternal laws of thought and of logic, the eternal values. So we go to it like this. It's in a hierarchy of knowledge. Consider also that there are universal, ideal, eternal forms, natural kinds, and properties, and abstract objects. All of these things which you never think about those things. Things like numbers and like sets of numbers or sets of things. Like the set of all human beings, humanity. It exists as an eternal Platonic form. It's an idea. It's an eternal idea which is manifested. This is the world of the divine Vedic knowledge. I mean, we don't want to say Vedic knowledge, because that's just, Veda here means knowledge. So, well, that's like saying knowledge. The knowledge that what I mean here is the relatively eternal knowledge, we would say, maybe. Things themselves. There are things exist. They're in the form of essences. Things themselves. They exist and they're universal, necessary, and certain. This is the soul. Everything has a soul. It's what, the essence is what makes a thing what it is. And it exists, and all those things exist in all possible worlds. It's these eternal forms which are the blueprints for the creation of this world and the manifestation of the particulars that we see in our experience. And it's these eternal essences and divine archetypal forms within our own psyche, within our own mind, that can be apprehended by our reason and by the higher evolution of our own reason, which is called intuition. That's a higher expression of the buddhi, the ability to know and to value these higher truths. And so it's these which guide the creation of the world and which enable us to make things intelligible. These things the world is intelligible. All the words in the dictionary, we understand those words because we have an innate remembrance of the divine forms that are in our own potential, in our own soul. And so now the project of spiritual, so there's a higher world. That's our own higher mind. And so the project of spiritual life is to begin to move from the lower mind to the higher mind, to move from the ego mind to the higher, the wisdom self. And to begin to see things in terms of a higher understanding. And to get a new perspective on life. Swami Vivekananda in Thousand Island Park, he says somewhere in this divine world, somewhere in this world of eternal forms, there is an ideal you. And, we can imagine, let's say, that one day, that you, in your true nature, that is, let's assume that you are now, you've left the body, and you're maybe journeying in higher worlds, and you are now a disembodied intelligence. And maybe now you're living in a higher world. And one day, you look, you come down to the balcony, the railing of the heaven, and you're like that's your true nature, right? You're a divine immortal soul. And, but you're standing there at the balcony, and you're looking you're looking down. And there, as you're looking down into the darkness, you can see some lights. And there you can see some twinkling of some lights, and you become kind of interested in that. And the lights looking closer. We're still on our theme here, our question, our first question. How did the Atman become the Jivatman? That's our question now. Already see? Okay. Let's try to answer that. So here's a how did that happen? Well, you're looking over the balcony, and there you see the lights, and you look closer to the lights, and you see, oh, there's many lights there. Oh, it looks like a carnival. And in fact, you listen even closer and closer, and you can hear the music, and you can hear the singing, and gradually you can see the people down there, and you become fascinated. And in the Bhagavad Gita, in the second chapter, it says, Dhyato Vishayan Pungsa Sangas Teshu Pajayate. First step. That's the first step. Whole series of steps. But the soul has already taken the first step. You've become interested in the world. That is, you've become fascinated with something which is transient and which is eternal, which is not your true nature. And as a result of which, you feel the desire. So the idea comes into the mind, I'd like to visit. I'd like to go down there. And so that soul goes flying through the air. And it comes down to the earth. And of course, because it's a disembodied intelligence, when it actually incarnates on the earth, he's like a cripple. He can't move because he's like pure intelligence. He's just like, so how is he going to live? Well, he looks around, and there he sees that there by the side of the road is a blind man. And there the blind man, he walked over to the blind man. He said, sir, you and I maybe should get together because I can't move around and you can't see. So what if I climb up on your shoulders and we'll go through the world and we can live a life together. And so like that, they coupled up and they began to live their life. Well, you may say that's a silly story. That's a story, though, that was told by the greatest of all the philosophers, Kapila, the founder of the philosophy in the universe, the first formulator of a system of philosophy in the history of mankind. Gives us just an example. Because, of course, we're asking an impossible question. How did the infinite become finite? That's impossible. But we're just we're good, so that we have to maybe understand. Well, now we've told a story. Once upon a time, there was a similar thing happened in the world of the Devas. That is the king of the gods. It is Vishnu. He was the king of all the gods, and Vishnu ruled over the three worlds. And one day, as he finished his business, he was just thinking, visualized all of those worlds, began looking down at the earth. And he just didn't have anything to do, so he began thinking about the earth. And of course, with his divine sight, he kind of zeroed in. He zeroed in on the continents and on the cities and everything. Zeroed in on a farm. And there on a farm, he saw all the people, and he saw some animals there, and he saw a pig that was walking around on the farmyard. And he thought, that looks interesting. Now, I think I'd like to I wonder how that feels. And so as soon as he had thought, of course, the thought becomes reality. And there he goes flying through the air, and he incarnated there in the form of a pig. And time passed, and he was so happy. He would just eat, spend the day. He would just eat all day. He would lie in the sun. And when it got too hot in the sun, he'd go over and he'd just wallow in a big puddle of mud. And like this, his life was happy. Meanwhile, the gods were very concerned. The whole kingdom here, many things need to be done. The king is not here. And like that, they tried to get his attention, but Vishnu took no notice of them. One after the other came and pleaded with him, return to the heavenly world. Finally, the gods appealed to the Lord Shiva. And Shiva, seeing what had happened, came down, and there he saw this pig there, and understood what had happened, and took his mighty trident, and with that he smote the body of that pig, cut it in half, and out of the body came Vishnu laughing. And he laughed and he laughed and he looked around. He couldn't believe it. But all this time he'd been staying here in this condition. And he flew back into the heavenly world. So it's kind of the same story. We see here that in the account that it's Vishnu didn't die. That is, he was killed the body was killed, but he himself was not the body, and so he just returned to the heavenly world. Similarly, Christian theologians use the term, that Swami Vivekananda was fond of the term, the old man must die. By that, the Christians mean, of course, the natural man that's prone to sin. The old man, that's the manas, that's the lower mind. It's prone to what Sri Ramakrishna called the worldly man, the man earthbound, sense-bound, who prioritizes all of the enjoyments of three lower chakras, oblivious of higher life and of the higher world. What Vedantins would call the ego mind. That's the old man. That old man has to die. But, well, you're not the body and you're not the mind. And therefore, well, you can see here that we can now kind of understand, get an answer to some of part of our question. How did we fall into this condition? It's because we forgot our spiritual practice. We became fascinated with the material world and with the sensible world of things and sense pleasures. And so, as a result of which, if we forget our higher self, then we live from our lower self, and we experience what Buddha. Our perspective then is the perspective of Lord Buddha when he was asked, "What is life?" All is suffering. All is transient. All is empty. This is life. This is the life of the lower mind. This is the life of avidya maya. This is why Patanjali in the second pada of the Yoga Sutras tells spiritual aspirants that we must give up our clinging to life. Clinging to one of the 5 kleshas, pain-bearing obstructions. By life, of course, it doesn't mean that life is worthless. I mean, all religions say life is sacred. That's true, but in religious language, life is not just the duration between birth and death. In religious language, life means everlasting life, eternal life. And the Vedanta, teaching of the Vedanta, that true eternal life means true immortal, eternal being, which is our true nature. Okay? I think we'll stop. Svataya Shanti Vishwe Deva Shanti Brahma Shanti Saravam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Same Shantirehi Om Shanti 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 Om. Peace is in heaven, peace is on the earth, peace is in the sky and in the waters. The herbs and plants and trees are full of peace. The gods are peaceful. May this eternal, universal peace enter our souls and beings. Oh, peace, peace, peace be unto us all. Okay, join us for the great miracle. If you have some question or comment from Swami. Oh, okay, okay.
Thank you, Swami. Next Sunday, we have here Swami Sarvadevananji will speak on one undivided heart. That is the topic. Maharaj most likely will speak on Swami Vivekananda and Swami Brahmananda. We are going to celebrate their birthdays next this January. Swami Vivekananda's birthday will be on January 11th, Sunday, and Swami Brahmananda on Sunday 25th January. So Swami Sarvadevanji will speak on Vivekananda and Brahmananda next Sunday here at 11 o'clock. And then same day in the afternoon, Maharaj will conduct a retreat at Vivekananda House in South Pasadena. You may know the Swami Vedarupananda, he lives in South Pasadena. So Sarvadevananda will go there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and conduct the retreat. You are welcome to join the retreat. And then on third Saturday, we have a retreat in Pinnon Hills. Swami Arupeshananda will give the retreat from morning 10 till afternoon 1 o'clock. So if you are interested, please contact Arupeshananda by email. Thank you. So,
New Year's Eve meditation.
yeah, so we have a meditation on the eve of New Year, December 31st. Please come here at 11:30. The meditation will start, and it will continue till midnight. And after that, please join for snacks in the monastery, refreshments in the monastery. Thank you.
Pasadena today or next week?
Next week.
Yeah. But also New Year's Day evening at 6:30, there's a reading.
So on the New Year's Day, on the January 1st, after our Vespers, Swami Medhananda will read the significance of the January 1st. That is, we celebrate Kalpataru Day on January 1st. So the significance of Kalpataru event in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, that will be read by Swami Medhananda. Right? Yeah. Thank you.